Hey everyone, welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast, where we give you all the news and analysis of Brandon Sanderson and the Cosmere. I'm Eric.
I'm Ian.
And I'm David.
Kerry's sick today. She'll be back. Let's start with talking about the news. There's been some interesting stuff since the last time we recorded.
The Apocalypse Guard has been temporarily shelved because...
Correct.
Yeah. Brandon wrote the draft of the first book, and it's broken, and he doesn't know how to fix it yet. So,
I think that's very big of him, because I think that means that if, like, he wrote Stormlight 4 and it wasn't up to snuff, he would take longer and make it better. Like, he would be like, this is not acceptable for me to do because the hype's a lot. Now, hopefully that doesn't mean that books take forever to write, but I mean, Oathbringer turned out really well. Like, let's be real. Like, he didn't need to change the entire book, which is 450,000 words long.
Yeah. And because of that, he still needs to release something next year with Random House.
Yes.
So the Mystery Project showed up on
Spooky
his
Mystery Project. Yes, there's the Mystery Project in the Progress Bar.
Progress Bars. That's the word I was looking for.
Words, they're hard.
Yes.
It's not like we come here for words.
No.
Yeah, so there was the Mystery Project, and Brandon teased like, well, you know, Mystery Project's a project that I've been thinking of before. And then at the Oathbringer release party, which this'll come out a bit later after the release, but still mostly timely. But I'll have you know, I called it was Skyward. You guys remember. And
I actually
turns
don't.
out it was What?
I don't remember.
What? I totally called this in Discord. You can look at the chat history.
He did. He did. Call it.
No special knowledge, I swear. And I was just like, Skyward, it's YA. Why not? It's been a while. We only heard about it once in State of Sanderson in 2013. That it's some YA thing. And it was sci-fi, originally Cosmere. And now that's what it is. It's Skyward. And he read from it, and you can look at our YouTube channel for the reading of it, which for some reason is in portrait. Oops. I wasn't there. Not my fault. Was not my fault.
Oh, Eric.
Hashtag blame Matt. It's all Matt. Matt recorded it. The audio's pretty good. And some people were like, oh, the audio's not good. I was like, hey, I could read. I could listen to exactly what it was. Anyway, that's the news. What are we going to talk about today, guys?
We're talking about
3 epigraphs, which are excerpts from the Urithiru gem archive thing.
The Stormlight archive?
No.
You're fired. Get out.
I thought it was a funny joke.
I mean, you know, everything is named in world. It's entirely possible that the Stormlight archive is going to be like mentioned just like book 8, like, oh, we found the Stormlight archive.
I think I've heard it's
that
not,
actually could be
but
this.
Yeah, I've heard Peter say it's not.
I hope not. I don't like that name for what this is.
Yeah, it would be a little bit too self-referential, I think, where people are like, you know, like too big a wink at the reader. We're like, oh, get it? That's the title.
It's the Stormlight archive. This is really important, guys. But anyway, Renarin, though the books in Urithiru are decayed.
Mm-hmm.
Was that due to Midnight Mother? Probably.
I think it's just because it's been like
close
2,000
to
years.
2,000 years. Yeah.
I kind of forgot just because like it was in that same Midnight Mother, so like maybe that corruption was there. But like, yeah, paper doesn't last that long. But the Radiance did protect their secrets, and we didn't get that in the book, but we did get it in these epigraphs, and they're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And David, how are these grouped?
These are grouped right now. They're not in the exact order that they appeared in the book, but Ian was so kind as to group them by the drawer that they are, you know, in, and by the gemstone they're related to. And we're pretty sure the type of gemstone relates to the type of the Order of Radiance. So Zircons are the L Scholars.
Gotta be.
So
because they're just the same as the 10 Essence that we've already
the 10
that
pulse
we've always known.
Pull stones, not essences.
Well, no, but like in the chart that had all the 10 essences, like
Yeah.
those were mentioned. That's what I mean. I know they're called pull stones.
Yeah.
But thank you, because now our listeners know that they are the 10 pull stones. If you forgot,
I'm glad when there's like a term is mentioned one time and we just run with it, like shard wielding, like one time on the back of the book, and we're like, there it is.
Oh yeah,
The War of
no,
Reckoning mentioned twice.
With the wiki, we gotta sometimes we gotta dig deep.
Yeah.
So, Ian, why don't you start us off?
Okay, so the first group of them is a set of 3 zircons in drawer 1-1.
And zircons are?
Zircons are the gemstone associated with Else Callers, which is the order that Yasna is a member of.
Ooh.
My research into the cognitive reflections of Spren at the tower has been deeply illustrative. Some thought that the sibling had withdrawn from men by intent, but I find counter to that theory. The wilting of plants and the general cooling of the air is disagreeable, yes, but some of the tower's functions remain in place. The increased pressure, for example, persists. Something is happening to the sibling. I agree this is true, but the division among the Knights Radiants is not to blame. Our perceived worthiness is a separate issue.
Ooh. This is spicy. The sibling, brand new. This is a brand new thing.
Third bondsmith, Spren.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what people have been assuming, that it's the third bondsmith, Spren, because there's the Stormfather, which did exist before Honor died.
Yes.
Then there's the Night Watcher, which who knows what actually was going on with cultivation, but
freaky
sure.
eldritch smoke monster thing.
Yeah. Kind of like the Midnight Mother, but and then the sibling, and yeah, so I guess that could be the third bondsmith, Spren, and the Stormfather's like, no, I don't want to talk about that at all.
Yeah. So at least the theory that like I have had, and like I'm not gonna pretend like this is exclusive to me, but like other readers have brought up, is I am personally a proponent of the theory that the sibling, if not being, or I think it's probably actually Urithiru itself, or at least heavily tied into Urithiru, as you can kind of like see here a little bit. Because just like looking at the wilting of the plants and whatnot, like in whole Redoran's whole revelation, he's like, the function of this Fabrial is to be a city. I feel like it's all interconnected here.
Yeah, like I definitely think that is, it's like probably like, because like we know Spren, Fabrials are powered by Spren. Probably the sibling is the Spren that powered the Urithiru city Fabrial.
Yeah, because it's like a ridiculous amount of gemstones, and people in the book are like, I don't know how we're supposed to get this to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they even tried infusing the gemstone pillar, and like it didn't do anything. I don't quite remember if like they were actually able to infuse it or if it resisted that.
I don't remember.
They couldn't infuse it, if I recall correctly.
Oh,
okay.
They couldn't infuse
Yeah,
it.
That's
well,
what
see,
I thought.
What I think is kind of interesting, though, is I feel like we've really seen like two styles of Fabrials in the books. There's the modern ones that Navani is like really good with, and then we see the more ancient Fabrials like the Oath Gates, and I'm thinking Urithiru, where it feels like there's no, like the gemstones are somewhat involved, but like the Spren has been pulled into the physical realm, which I think is what's happening here. It's why I think that the Shin consider, Urithiru as not unholy to walk on, because it's not real rock, because the sibling has built this city out of itself. Is more or less.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting idea, that you think that the sibling built Urithiru, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like the cool things, like, there's a point in the book where Navani is showing Dalinar like the veins of garnet weaving through it. And garnet is, it's ostensibly blood, but it's also non-oil. So I think that's like the literal piping that they're seeing in the walls of Urithiru is these garnet veins.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pole stone, garnet. So,
yeah.
So I mean, like when you see random gemstones, that's not just a
like in veins of gemstones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
that's like
that.
Not well. Is that natural? Geology expert?
Yeah, you're actually a geologist.
Okay, so not yet.
Yeah.
We'll get there. But we don't do a lot of gemstone stuff because that's really a very specific field. But So I'm going to make a fool of myself right now. I don't think they don't do veins like that. Like, they are individual crystals. There's no lines of gemstones that are interconnected like that. You'll find them together in like kimberlite stuff for diamonds, but it's not like that.
You know more about geology than of the vast majority of listeners, I'm sure, and the vast majority of people in the fandom. And so I think that's cool.
And it's like not just garnets that run in veins, I think.
I saw the garnets called out specifically, but I'm sure there are others. Like, they're doing something with the plants. Like, Taravangian mentions that there wouldn't, like, even if the plants grew like it was at base level, there wouldn't be enough food. So it's supplying stormlight to these plants is what he thinks in some way.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
So do you think, God, maybe we just need a whole podcast on the sibling and this, which we probably do. But do we want to spitball any reasons why the sibling would have left? Because I don't really know right now. I haven't really thought about this.
I don't
too much.
No. One of my like more crackier theories is that the sibling has moved to the Horneater Peaks because because like there's increased pressure there. Like it should not be habitable in the way it is, and it's like.
Okay, all right. I see what you're trying to get at there.
And Rock tells the story of the origin of the Horneaters in Words of Radiance, and it's like going to this Bren, like for gifts, and it's like maybe they went to the sibling.
It could also be because that we don't really know what perpendicularity. Like, we don't know all the details, but like cultivation's perpendicularity is there, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
I did say it was one of my more crackier theories. There's a reason I did not post this one.
Yeah, right. We're more off the cuff here, but that's actually an interesting idea that maybe the sibling, like the Night Watcher, is like cultivation, the Stormfather's honor stuff, but maybe the siblings their mix.
That's what I've been considering.
Kind of yeah, like it could just be that.
Yeah, I think my only hesitation with your theory, Ian, because I like it, is that there's still effects at the tower. I think we're going to touch on another one here in a minute, but there's still increased pressure. It's still not as cold as it should be. So I feel like the sibling just has withdrawn a little bit for some reason.
Yeah.
Like it's still there, but it's slumbering.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Okay. It may be more incognitive than like pulled in to physical.
Kind of like the thrill at the end, it popped back out. The sibling has withdrawn into Shadesmar. But yeah.
There's also like at the very beginning, my research into the cognitive reflections of Spren at the tower has been deeply illustrative.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I don't know.
But
like I wish that like they could transfer between the realms through the Oath Gates, but they can't because Daddy told them not to.
Yeah, because like this is obviously it's pre-Recreance, but the Urithiru was abandoned before the Recreance. It's probably like a few centuries. Like I don't know.
If you look at if we look at the timeline later, I think it had to have been abandoned because they reference the Recreance. They reference the strike on Ba'adu Mishram in these gemstones.
Okay.
I think Urithiru was in the process of being abandoned during the Recreance. I
don't know. Yasna was pretty sure that it was abandoned pre-Recreance, and like if she was sure, I don't know. There must have been some time period before, rather than it being
like Yasna is a Veristitalian. Like historical accuracy is like hugely important.
Although it was like basically back to the Shadow Days, and it's also possible that I can't imagine the Tower City being abandoned all the way. Like it's possible they moved all the servants out and all the regular people, and they still met there for a while. Like there's no way of knowing like when the last time someone set foot in Urithiru aside from Seth was.
Well, we're going to talk about this because they talk about the plan. So
yeah, we'll get to that.
David, do you want to read these Smokestone ones?
Oh yeah, this is a juicy one right here. We can. You want to do all three or both of them?
Well, there's just 2 Smokestones.
Okay, yeah. We can record any secret we wish and leave it here. How do we know they'll be discovered? Well, I don't care. Record that then. I wish just the one.
Yeah. So it's just explaining what's going on here.
Yeah. And Skybreakers are doorknobs.
Oh yeah.
This kind of angsty.
This is the Skybreaker pole stone. So
yeah, and then I wish to submit my formal protest at the idea of abandoning the tower. This is an extreme step taken brashly.
That also does sound like a Skybreaker, if you know that. They're
And the first one was from drawer 2-3, and the second one was drawer 2-22.
So maybe a lot later in time, probably?
Or it's probably
I don't
not
know
the
what that
same
means, maybe?
person.
Yeah.
No, definitely not the same person. I totally agree on that. But maybe like, they were recording these things. Oh, but maybe they're just recording these things as a record as they're leaving Urithiru.
Yeah, like I think they're like
that was what I
all
thought.
roughly contemporaneous with each other, and with the evacuation of Urithiru. This is just like some like categorization that like Navani and her people are imposing to like organize
so
things.
I guess I agree. But like each drawer doesn't necessarily have to be the same radiant even.
No.
It could. But,
Oh yeah, no.
but I think if it's in a different drawer, it's probably not the same radiant. Right?
Yeah, there's,
I would say so.
Yeah.
Because each of these like gemstones, they said, is like about a page, maybe a little less. So we're seeing excerpts from a larger account in a single gemstone every time.
Yeah, there's probably so many, and they haven't recorded nearly many of them. Ooh, can I read this one?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
This next one. This is Garnet. So Garnet is
Lightweaver.
Lightweavers. Obviously. That one you can remember. I'm worried about the tower's protections failing. If we're not safe from the maid here, then where? And that's drawer 311. Ooh.
Yeah. What I find kind of interesting about this one is something that was towards the end of the book in chapter 122 when Odium appears to Taravangian at the very end. And Taravangian like hears Odium like faintly telling him to open the window, and then Taravangian opens the window, and then Odium is able to manifest completely. So I think that is the protection still, at least on some level, existing.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Because like we know gemstones that are inside do not get infused with stormlight, like they have to be outside. But like even going to Mistborn, the mist does not enter a building. Like even if the windows open, it dissipates. So like there's something like inside, like there's just like some like natural like resistance. Like I don't know if there's like cognitive shenanigans going on, but like it makes it more difficult to penetrate.
It could be relevant to all sources of investiture. That's true, but I mean, I think even if it was, like, that's still part of the protections of Urithiru.
Yeah,
right?
But like I feel like this one is like something even beyond that level.
It's possible, but I don't know.
Like
go ahead, Eric.
Oh no, you go ahead.
I just feel like with like the direct, like influence of a shard, like focusing on this place, like maybe the mist couldn't go through a window, but that was just Preservation's loose power. With Odium focusing his attention on this building, him still not being able to bypass that seems a little silly to me.
He manifested physically and commanded a battle and like did so much at the end. Like if he can't get through a window, like there's something there, right?
Okay, that's a good point.
But then to like undercut myself, it seems like there's specifically protections against the unmade, and then Rishapir is just chilling inside. So apparently that didn't work anymore.
I think Rishapir, like that's alluding to, like Rishapir, like shows up and is like, we thought we were safe from these things here.
So then, are we thinking that's a reason why they abandoned Urithiru? Because they thought they were safe and they're not, and so it's like, well, there's this other problems. The siblings left, so it's like this could just be as simple as that. The sibling left, unmade are coming in. This is not working out super great.
Yeah, I honestly think like the food was probably the primary thing. Like the protections were cool, but like, at one point they mentioned what the Radiants would have wanted to have had like a self-sustaining fortress, and Urithiru is rapidly becoming a drain on their resources rather than a stronghold.
Because you'd probably have to have Radiance like be soul casting food all the time for its inhabitants. So like, I think the sibling leaving is really why they're leaving Urithiru, not like some other conflict. It's just like, this is not being sustainable. But the Unmade showing up there is also like, well, now we're definitely not safe here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think the sibling, maybe the sibling leaving is why the Unmade could come in, maybe?
I would say that's probable. Like,
That seems reasonable.
that would, like, the protections of Urithiru, like, were diminishing just like every other aspect of Urithiru.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like, maybe when we eventually turn on the Fabrial of Urithiru someday.
I really
then
hope that's on screen and doesn't happen over the break.
There's
man.
absolutely no way that does not happen on screen.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. That's going to be an awesome moment when Urithiru lights up and we see what it's actually like, rather than, there's a lot of caves. This is, like, not really super great.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
This place is really creepy.
This place is creepy.
Yeah, I think that also just kind of gets into why Rishafir was even at Urithiru in the first place, because, like, you know, reading it, it's clear that she hasn't been imprisoned in a while, so I'm like, did she just somehow get loose from a prison that was left here, or was she imprisoned like 6 Desolations ago and she's been out for a while and just happened to wander into Urithiru when everyone left? Like,
I think
why
she was
there.
imprisoned there, and that's why she was still there. Like, she broke out and just, like, didn't leave. It's like,
I'm curious how
everyone's
she did
gone.
that.
It's mine now.
Mm-hmm. But, like, I suppose they should just keep an eye on that big gemstone with the thrill inside of it. Make sure it doesn't just somehow get out.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I just had a horrible idea, guys.
Mm-hmm.
If Taravangian's working for Odium, what if he steals that? That would be bad.
I think Dalinar's going to keep him at arm's length. I really hope so, now that he's heard some of
Well, I guess
Taravangian's
that's true.
treachery
I
from
guess that's
Seb.
true. And also Zeth is going to be like, yo, he's my master.
well,
That's
Taravangian
really...
told Dalinar that.
Mm-hmm. He
Well,
beat
yeah,
him
but,
to
like-
it, which is cool. But yeah.
Yeah. But, like, Zeth would still... If Dalinar was uncertain, then Zeth would really turn Dalinar there.
Be like, this guy's a monster. Or
I'm
whatever
just
you
saying,
think of Taravangian.
that is now a big worry for me about that gemstone with the thrill.
Well, they don't have the best track record of holding on to ancient, really valuable items, such as
This
an
is
honor
like
blade.
any video game ever. We gotta collect the gemstones. Like, oh, the villains took the gemstones. Disaster. Like, this is bad. MacGuffins are bad. So, you want to go to this next drawer 4, Ian?
Yeah. The Edge Dancers are too busy relocating the tower's servants and farmers to send a representative to record their thoughts in these gemstones. I'll do it for them then. They are the ones who will be most displaced by this decision. The Radiants will be taken in by nations, but what of all these people now without homes? From drawer 4-17, second topaz. There's no first topaz there, which is frustrating.
Yeah. Well, it's like reading Words of Radiance, like the in-world thing. It's like, man, I would really like to go to the next page. And Topaz is our good friends,
The Stonewards.
the Stonewards. And I like that the Edge Dancers are helping the people that reading Edge Dancer. It's like, yeah, that makes sense for the Edge Dancers to do.
And it's like, you'll notice, like, if you look through the list of pull stones that appear here, there are no diamonds.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
yeah.
also aren't any Heliodors, but those are
Which-
bondsmiths. So.
Yeah, which I'm mad about for my own reasons, but that'd
Well,
be so cool.
obviously we would like to know more about the ancient bondsmiths, yes. But,
Yeah. I wonder where the people did go, though. Like, you know, the scale of Urithiru, that was an enormous
huge.
city. And, like, so, like, which government was like, oh, yeah, let's just... Because, I mean, you know, taking on a bunch of refugees who've just all lost their homes, that's a big deal. Where'd they go?
Needless to say, I think the Edge Dancers would be very busy in relocating them. So
Yeah.
as it feels like, what, you can't send one Edge Dancer to record your thoughts? It's like, well, we have this massive refugee crisis that we caused here.
Yeah.
So.
And just, like, thinking about it from, like, the perspective of, like, the average person of Urithiru, who have, like, their family has probably lived there for thousands of years. There's like the idea of like leaving it is difficult in itself, having to like now trying to find a place somewhere in the world to live.
But yeah, and I'm sure, it was the most technologically advanced, like incredible city in the world, and then to just, be put down as a farmer somewhere, like in the middle of nowhere, that'd be a culture shock to say the least.
Yeah. Even if they were like a farmer in Urithiru, like
they still had all that fancy farming on the terraces.
Sprentech, yeah. All right, let's look at this next one.
Now that we abandon the tower, can I finally admit that I hate this place? Too many rules. From drawer 8-1, Amethyst, which I believe are the Will Shapers.
Will Shapers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Will Shapers, or with Patron Kalak.
Yep.
Yep.
That's their herald. Well, I guess they don't like rules. I mean, that kind of goes back to one of the epigraphs in Way of Kings where they're like, oh, the tariffs to Urithiru are getting very extreme. By then, the Knights Radiant have already shown their true colors. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, and the Will Shapers are supposed to be like the most eccentric, the least, like the people who are the explorers, the ones who don't follow the rules, like they're just they're independent, or they're individuals, so
yeah.
That makes sense.
So good for if Venli becomes one.
Oh yeah,
that'd be so good if Venli became one, just for exactly that reason.
Well, she is already one, sort of.
Yeah,
she's on the
path.
path.
I mean, but we don't know if it's explicitly that order.
I'm 99% sure that it's what it
I'm
is.
like 99.9999.
That was the perfect spren for Eshonai, and she basically picked up. I know there's some theories remaining about it maybe being Eshonai's cognitive aspect or something. I don't buy any of that personally.
No, we see timbre in Words of Radiance.
Yeah,
with Eshonai.
Yeah, it's still sticking around a little bit, but I'm like, that was Eshonai's spren, and then Venli just basically picked that one up. Is what it seems like, and so it's Eshonai would be a Will Shaper if she had lived, in my opinion.
Yes. And if you go to my thread in the Oathbringer Spoilers forum on the varieties of True Spren, I arrange all of the information we get, and it's
great.
Like, timbre is a light spren, and they bond.
Yeah.
Will Shapers.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Eco's daughter. Still, I think it's a good idea, Ian. But yeah,
I forgot to say something. Book spoilers, by the way. Oops. I think anyway. Oops. Maybe
you already spoiled like Odium showing up at the end.
Yeah. We spoiled like everything. All right. Drawer 821. I worry about my fellow Truth Watchers. And second Emerald.
I assume that's a Truth
Where's
Watcher.
the first one?
And Emerald are Truth Watchers.
Mm-hmm.
In case that wasn't obvious.
Yeah. They're too busy being tactful and not saying anything, which is their whole thing.
I mean, something weird going on with Truth Watchers.
We'll circle back to this one, I think.
Great.
A little later on.
Yeah. Yeah. In my mind, I kind of consider the Truth Watchers to. It's possible in my mind that they are as significant, or like almost as significant to cultivation as the Bondsmiths might be to honor. But that might not work out either, though, because Night Watcher.
Whoa, wait, dude.
Yeah.
They're on opposite sides of the thing.
That was what I was thinking.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they're very important. I think the Truth Watchers are more important than we've been let on, at the very least. They may not be a perfect honor cultivation divide, but
I definitely think they're as important as I've always thought they were important.
Oh, that's good. I didn't think about that, but like Edge Dancers, they seem pretty cultivation-y. Like it's on that side.
They literally bond cultivation spread.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. That is the thing, though. If that's the most important, if Truth Watchers are most important, then cultivation, yeah. But I guess Honor Spren didn't bond Bondsmiths, so
yeah.
And so I guess that is not really a 1-1.
Yeah, and the Honor Spren and the Cultivation Spren aren't opposites on the chart. Like it's not that's Brandon's whole thing with like things not fitting perfectly into boxes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Give me this drawer 10, Ian.
Today, I leaped from the tower for the last time. I felt the wind dance around me as I fell all the way along the eastern side, past the tower and into the foothills below. I'm going to miss that. From drawer 10-1, Sapphire.
Oh, what's Sapphire, guys?
Windrunners.
Oh, yeah, if that wasn't obvious enough, it's Windrunners. Yep. What about this next one?
It's so sad.
Yeah.
This one is very sad.
Yeah. My friend claims that recording this would be good for me, so here I go. Everyone says I will swear the fourth ideal soon, and in so doing, earn my armor. I simply don't think that I can. Am I not supposed to want to help people? From drawer 10-12, Sapphire.
Ooh. And that's kind of one of the crazy things in Oathbringer, right? Kaladin did not swear the fourth ideal.
I love
and
that.
The book could have ended that way, right? It could have if it was a different book.
So but you see, he's starting to know what it is, whether or not he can actually swear it yet. Because there is a difference between knowing an oath and swearing an oath. Because we do see with Seth and the Skybreakers, they tell everyone up front what the oaths of the Skybreakers are.
Well, it's not like in Windrunner land, Kaladin's not going to tell them what the oaths are.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's a secret. It's hardest for the first one to really
and
figure it out.
Lupin knew what the second ideal was.
Yeah, Calvin was telling all of them. He's like,
I imagine they were just telling them all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not really secrets. Kaladin would not keep secrets from Bridge 4.
No.
Except for Moash,
it wasn't
which
until
is for
that moment at the end that the oath was accepted for Lupin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so right, exactly. But
yeah. So
what's the fourth ideal?
I have no idea.
My theory, throughout, especially seeing reading Kaladin's POV at the end where he's about to swear it and then fails. On some level, it's I think a Windrunner accepting that either they're not going to be able to save everyone, or that they have to let people. That you're not going to protect people from the consequences of their actions. Something like that. Dalinar can't.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's dead on because Kaladin, he just cannot get over the fact that Kholinar just got wrecked and people he cared about were killing other people he cared about and he could not protect them all. And I think it's got to be something about you can't protect everyone or something. Only phrased better.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's you can't protect people from the consequences of their own actions. I really like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially, I thought it was interesting when Kaladin's going through and he's letting these people go that he can't protect anymore, and he even lets Tien go, and then he gets to Dalinar and he cannot accept that he can't save Dalinar. He just will not believe that he can't help him, which is
and that's why he doesn't
significant.
Get his armor.
Yeah, I think that's going to be Kaladin's next big plot, in addition to him getting better with accepting Light Eyes, is him, because it wasn't a great big character growth plot for Kaladin, which is fair. He's had a lot of that in the first two books.
Yeah.
Also, Kaladin more kind of he was being Windrunnery in that Windrunners are scouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's yo, Kaladin, you're going to do some scouting for me. And we learned about the Voidbringers and we had to figure out Kholinar and he had to romance Shallan, but not really.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Maybe that should be a podcast. The love triangle. That probably should be a podcast.
Yeah. But there's also the interesting point that Windrunners get their armor after the fourth ideal, but Lightweavers don't get it until their fifth ideal.
Well, Lightweavers are weird because they have truths and not really ideals. So
still, but they still have 4 truths they have to say.
And Zeth swore 3 Skybreakers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's waiting on the fourth oath now himself. He has to pick.
Isn't it
weird
that
his
he doesn't get a regular blade with Skybreakers?
Well, in theory, he should. He should be able to get one. We could do a whole thing on Seth and his Spren as well, because I think his Spren is an odd character, but
I'm writing this crap down. Podcasts we need to do. All right, David.
Should I just
draw 12?
Just launch in there. Alrighty.
Let's go.
If this is to be permanent, then I wish to leave record of my husband and children.
Oh God.
Wismal, who must be Thalen, as good as man as any woman could dream of loving. Kamakra and Molinar, the true gemstones of my life. From drawer 12-15, Ruby, which I believe is a Dustbringer / releaser, but they're the Dustbringers because that fits the pattern.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, that's a Dustbringer. Very Thalen names, holy crap.
Yeah.
But it's cool seeing, the lives of the Radiants, and it's just like, I'm sad of leaving.
Mm-hmm. And
Like this one definitely like shows like the Radiants were people. Like,
Yeah.
like they had families. Like,
Well, I mean, pre-Recreance, like, we don't really know when the False Desolation occurred. That's a huge event, by the way.
Mhm.
Huge event. But,
I think the False Desolation and the Recreance were like bowed on top of each other because they were fighting
I think
the
so.
devils.
I think so.
Yeah, but
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's got to be the fighting that's referred to, right?
I
But,
think so.
And then maybe just, like, diverged in history as, like, two separate things. And like, I don't know, you don't really know what this is.
Mhm.
But, yeah, they have lives and stuff, and most probably aren't warriors, right?
Mhm.
So they could just, like, I'm my farmer in Urithiru powering things because the sibling left, and I'm mad about it.
yeah, I think in Way of Kings, Yasna is like only 1 in 4
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
on
Warriors.
the battlefield.
To be fair, though, probably a lot more work during the Desolations.
Yeah.
like post last Desolation, the Knights Radiant probably
Chilled out.
got to be a little more relaxed.
Yeah.
Um,
And the other thing about this one that kind of like is that it's a mom, and that's still like Brandon playing with people's expectations. Lift being a
Of being a
non-traditional
knight,
knight.
yeah.
That this isn't a typical. This is a mother thinking about her husband and her children, not as you might normally
that's really
think.
cool. Like an old lady with armor and stuff, and being a Dustbringer who like probably really powerful,
Mhm.
very scary. That's awesome. Can we read a book about her? She sounds great. But maybe not all of those names because that sounds really hard to pronounce. So maybe not. Ian, yeah, this drawer 16 is pretty cool.
Yep. I returned to the tower to find squabbling children instead of proud knights. That's why I hate this place. I'm going to go chart the hidden undersea caverns of Amia, find my maps in Akra. Oh wait, no, that place is cut off. We can't go there. From drawer 16-16, Amethyst.
So again, Will Shapers, capricious. Was that the
I
word
wouldn't say
used?
capricious.
Sorry, no, I'm just trying to remember the word that they
It
had.
was
in, the word
like oddity, novelty, adventure. Like they had the least even temperament according to.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
words
but
of
I
rating.
mean, it totally makes sense. It
Yeah.
totally makes sense.
But like this is the second Amethyst that has gone like, I hate this place.
I hate this place. You're all squabbling. What are you doing?
Mhm.
I'm leaving. I'm going on an adventure.
Yeah. But we know Eshnai was a cartographer.
Mhm.
Like she loved making maps. Like she would have been such
okay,
a great
yeah,
wheel
yeah.
shaper.
Rest in peace.
I mean, rip, she's dead in a ditch. But I mean, I've always believed that she would be a will shaper. I was just trying to, give the benefit of the doubt. But now it's will shaper for
There's
sure.
a lot of indications. I like another like weird thing about Amia too. Like, the scouring, Oathgate destroyed, maybe Dygonarthus involved, undersea caverns. Like there's a lot to dig in there,
Mhm.
Amia, I'm sure, will be an important setting later. I want to say the back 5, but every time I read a new book, Brandon
Yeah,
brings
when
something
was
that I thought
Akana
was.
sealed off?
I don't even know when the scouring is.
Yeah.
Like,
No, we have absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, like Dalinar knows of the scouring. Like
Mhm.
that, it's not like pre-Recreance. There's no way that's pre-Recreance.
yeah, I think it's
like
not
in
super
recent
recent.
memory. Ish.
Yeah.
It's like maybe like as old as the Sunmaker, maybe something like that. Like it feels
800 years. Yeah.
It might be like more recent than that. Even.
Yeah, but like not before the Sunmaker. I don't think it's got
No.
before the Sunmaker. Like we think we got a pretty
Mhm.
good range. Oh, and by the way, I looked at the old thing, and apparently, Invia wrote of the Will Shapers that they are capricious, frustrating, and unreliable. So
Oh, there
I
you
didn't
go.
just make up that
It was
word.
capricious.
But that later does say that that's kind of intolerant to the Will Shapers. But
Yes.
I didn't just make up that word
Okay.
there. So I did remember that.
Oh,
Um,
I had one more thing I was going to say.
Okay.
Oh, it was on like Akuna being sealed off. Like it's not just sealed
Yeah.
off, it's like actively protected
Yeah.
by the
yeah.
Sleepless.
When did that happen?
Yeah.
That-
What secret are they hiding that has to do with the
and the
ends of
Soulcasters
worlds?
come from there? Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Mhm.
That's a podcast. That's totally a podcast.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, David.
There we go. All right. The enemy makes another push toward Feverstone Keep. I wish we knew what it was that had them so interested in that area. Could they be intent on capturing Ral Alorum from drawer 19-2? Third, Topaz, which are the stone wards again.
Yes. So
Feverstone Keep again.
Yeah, Feverstone Keep is from the vision that Dalinar has of the Recreance happening.
Yeah, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Very well, not the first vision, but the first Recreance vision, and not the ones in this book.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we've got like a general location on Feverstone Keep now, which is that it's somewhere in the Erie Rira Peninsula region, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we were talking the other day, David, about Feverstone Keep, and I completely forgot that it wasn't really important to the Radiants, but it was important to the enemy. I forgot that.
Yeah, that's so interesting to me that like the ancient Radiants still don't know like all the goals of, I assume at this point it was one of the unmade commanding the forces for this False Desolation, but
yeah, probably like
Mishram,
Mishram was in charge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna talk, listeners. Don't worry, we're gonna talk all about the unmade.
Listeners, or do you mean singers?
I mean, I'm sure some of our listeners are singers.
Mm-hmm.
But
now I'm
confused. Don't remember Raleigh Lorum, that is the location of the Oathgate for Erie.
Yeah.
And it's called the City of Shadows.
Ooh, I want to go there.
It's where Lift grew up.
She did not have a good time.
We know nothing else about it.
Is that going to be on the back five?
Liv's POV is, and I could see him, and it's deep enemy territory now, so I could see him leaving Ral Alorum alone for quite some time.
Oh, that's good. This is good lift plot, so we can see Ral Alorum before it got taken. Oh, see, that's clever uses of flashbacks, Brandon. It's like these things are planned.
Somewhat.
Nah.
That's got to be what it is. We're not going to see Ral Alorum before Lift's viewpoints.
Oh yeah.
I think we can. I think we can safely say that now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
that just makes too much sense storytelling wise.
Yeah.
Ooh, another Zircon, Elsecaller here. As the duly appointed keepers of the perfect gems, we of the Elsecallers have taken the burden of protecting the ruby nicknamed Honor's Drop. Let it be recorded. But personality-wise, that's also...
From drawer 20-10.
Zircon. From drawer 20-10, Zircon. So, that obviously Elsecaller, but also Yasna could have written that. Like, that would not have been weird. But Honor's Drop, is that the ruby at the end of the book?
It's called the King's Drop then, but I would not be surprised if the name had changed.
Could just be the same thing.
In 2,000 years. Yeah.
I think it probably did change in 2,000 years.
Yeah.
But
like the thing that I think is really interesting is that the Elsecallers ostensibly have these perfect gems, and they're like, the King's Drop is so rare in modern day that there's obviously not a lot of them in the physical realm, but Shadesmar apparently has enough of them. They use them as banks. So I'm curious if they entrusted them to the Spren and took them to Shadesmar for safekeeping before the Night's Radiant fell, and that's why they're all there, because the Elsecallers were like, "Oh, we're the guardians of Shadesmar. Let's put them in Shadesmar. That'll be easy."
That does seem like a good idea.
I'm interested that like it seems like so important. Like these perfect gems are so important.
Mm-hmm.
Like we know that they can hold an unmade, but
I don't think I think there's among perfect gems. If there's a lot of them for them to just be Spren banks. Some of them are better than others, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I'm also curious where they get perfect gems from, because like Brandon's talked about it in the past, like before this book, people asked him if you had a perfect gem, would it leak Stormlight? And he said no. So, but obviously you can't just cut a perfect gem. So are they created? Is there like some crazy great shell we haven't seen yet?
Maybe this is just created by Honor in particular. It's Honor's Drop. That's not impossible.
Yeah.
They could just be created by the shards, the perfect gems.
Mm-hmm. That's true too.
This generation has had only one bondsmith, and some blame the divisions among us upon this fact. The true problem is far deeper. I believe that Honor himself is changing. From Jor 24-18, Smokestone. So another Skybreaker.
Yep.
And like we know from Dalinar's conversations with the Stormfather in this book, that towards the end, Honor did start losing his mind, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably like succumbing to his intent more and more. Like,
well, also
being
Odium is like strangling Honor as well, right? Like, however, I don't know how much Chris knew of Honor's death. Like, we don't really know, but Chris describes the death of. Wait, am I completely wrong?
No,
she describes.
No, you're right. It's a sudden event, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Like,
does she describe the other ones as sudden events, or
yes,
yes, she describes the other ones.
Okay. So it's. But I don't know. I always felt like Honor raving mad had something to do with him being near death.
I feel like, I think the Stormfather. Well, I guess we can look it up, but yeah, that was also my read of what the Stormfather was saying.
Yeah, so then it's more like a strangulation. Do you see what I'm saying? That like maybe this was a slower process, and maybe Chris didn't know about it. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's curious. I guess I wonder how long the time period, like when Honor really started to die, because like Preservation had been dying. Preservation had been gone a long time, but
super long time.
And Brandon has said that like death for shards is different and weird.
Yeah, it's totally weird. And I mean, we know Honor had to die post Recreance. We know that for sure.
Yes,
100%.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one event that we're like not really clear on. Like, it seems like it should have been a big deal, but there's nothing in the record that is like, oh, that's obviously when Honor died. Like, I haven't seen anything like that so far.
But like, that's just like poetically fitting. Like, there's the T.S. Eliot poem that like, this is how the world ends, not with a bang but a whimper. Like,
I prefer the episode 3 version, where this is where democracy ends to thunderous applause.
Oh yeah,
It's definitely mimicking that poem for sure.
And like in the past, like we've seen from Mistborn, Preservation, Laras's death was very quiet. No one saw him fall. He just fell wherever his nexus or wherever his core was. I guess.
Yeah, but I feel like.
Well, he fell
and
like
Odium's
right
battle
where
is like a huge battle, right? Massive battle.
Okay.
And Cell probably super screwed.
Okay. He fell like where Ellen was, because that's where the locus of his power was.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. Like, I'm sure we'll learn more. Like, I'm curious how much the Radiants abandoning their oaths was just like Honor giving up. You know what I mean? It wouldn't surprise me if that kind of like. If he like that killed the last of his will to live,
Oh, I definitely like would think that's probable. Like seeing that
also
many like
funny,
oaths
though.
broken.
Yeah,
because in the Feverstone Keep vision, like Dalinar says, there was like a feeling in the air of like pain, like of screaming, like that.
Well, right, yeah. I guess that would affect Honor a lot. Yeah, that's true. Odium's like, such passion. I like it. But Honor would be pretty destroyed. But also, it's Honor's fault because he was rambling about them destroying Roshar. So Honor, make up your mind if you're going to be all moody about the Knights Radiant breaking their oaths, okay?
I'm sure he had moments of lucidity, but because we see
that's true.
Fuzz do that.
That's probably true. That's probably true.
Let's see. We can move on to this next one here. Yeah.
Yeah.
The disagreements between the Skybreakers and the Windrunners have grown to tragic levels. I plead with any who hear this to recognize you are not so different as you think. From Drawer 27-9, Topaz, which is again a Stone Ward.
I'm really liking these Stone Wards.
2017-19.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the numbers tell us too much, but...
Yeah,
no.
But
I'm
me.
I like the Stone Wards. I want to see a Stone Ward. That's, yeah. But also, we hear about the disagreement between the Windrunners and the Skybreakers in Words of Radiance.
Yeah. I think those are like a pairing that would really easily lend themselves to conflict too, because you know, like
I think so.
letter of the law versus how you feel about what you do are two pretty different things.
Yeah. And it's like they both
Yeah.
like think they're the right way.
Mhm.
So it's like, and it's like subtle differences can like grow. Like a tiny conflict can like blossom into like hatred. Not, well, stuff going on. I wonder if like
Uh-huh.
how much like odium was involved in like subtly like flaring up the differences, trying to like drive a wedge.
Someone asked me in Discord, if Ruin could change things, why can Odium do that?
No, we have
can't-
word of random
Yeah.
on this. It's
That he
because,
can't manipulate things?
no, not in the same way.
Interesting.
because,
Yeah,
like,
so I
Ruin-
assumed that his prison was just different, but it was an interesting thing to think
Yeah.
about.
Brandon talked about how because Ruin helped create the world literally, like he was a part of the world, like he had much more leeway, whereas Odium like came later. Like his influence is more through the Unmade and Void Spread.
Well, that's good, because otherwise the diagram would not work out very well if we
No.
could do that. So that relieves me. But
So like
I
cultivation
wonder what he could do
probably
through.
could.
Well, I guess, but like, you know,
if
we
she
know,
wanted to,
we
but
knew
I don't
that
think she
Aiden
would want to.
Alcium. I'm pretty sure we know that Aiden Alcium grew Rashar like himself, you know. So
Yes, but like cultivation has like
in-
cultivation and honor
invested
probably
himself more,
heavily
yeah.
invested in Roshar.
Yeah, more than Odium. But
definitely more than Odium, I'd say. But
I don't know how much Odium could influence the Skybreakers and the Windrunners, because when you have the Nahel Bond, you're immune to the thrill, right?
But
Well, the Windrunner, Kaladin is in particular.
Yeah.
Although
immune
you
to
could
the-
always corrupt a spren. Like, who knows?
They couldn't
Odium
just
is very
corrupt the
old and like very cunning. Like he would find sneaky ways of doing it.
I'm sure, yeah. But new and exciting ways to cause subtle things to make the Recreance happen. I imagine he waited a long time, which is why he didn't make another Desolation. That's kind of the whole point, right?
Yeah.
All right. As a Stone Ward, I spent my entire life looking to sacrifice myself. I secretly worry that is the cowardly way, the easy way out. From drawer 29.5 Topaz. Stone Wards are great, man. They're great.
Yes, but like this is a very like interesting, like think about the first ideal. Life before death.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes like living
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
more difficult path. And like I don't want to knock like sacrificing your life for someone like when the time is right. Like that is an honorable thing. Like that, like I don't want to like minimize that. But sometimes
I don't think anyone took that to be offensive, but I'm glad we specified that just in case.
yeah. But like sometimes living is more difficult. Like
Yeah. Well,
but that's
Yeah.
also like sacrificing themselves is kind of a Stoneward thing. Like
yeah, I was just thinking about that, because that's Talon's, their patron. And what does Talon do? He sacrifices himself in nearly unwinnable fights. That's the first thing we know about him.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, it does feel pretty Stonewardy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see like a more modern day Stoneward, because we've seen these glimpses of town, but it's interesting that
Yeah.
like I'm always curious about like which Radiant Orders are coming back first and why. If there's a reason that the Stoneward Spren and maybe the Willshaper Spren are more like haven't taken as many
Yeah.
steps as the Honor Spren seem to have, investigating
true.
other bonds. So I'm curious
That's
if the
true.
Stoneward, or especially like the significance of Talon being the one who didn't give up his oath. If there's something weird with the Stoneward Spren where they're also doing something, like
Well, I don't know.
I
how
wouldn't be
much
surprised if
that
there's a
matters
connection.
in
But yeah.
particular. I don't know if that matters, but
Yeah.
all right.
So this
Let's look
next
at-
one
Yeah.
is very, I like it. Good night, dear Urithiru. Good night, sweet sibling. Good night, Radiance. From drawer 29-29, Ruby.
Another
Which-
association with Urithiru directly with the sibling. So that's another thing supporting that idea.
But like, I find it like it's interesting that like this is a Dustbringer. Like we usually
Yeah,
think as them as like destructive and like fiery almost.
Well, we don't really know too much about him, and Malata is not a trustworthy source.
Yeah.
I would say.
But like this is like very like sweet and like poetic and
It's
sad.
also really sad because they're like, oh, good night Radiance, like us leaving Urithiru is going to destroy the Radiance in a way.
Mm-hmm.
That could be like dramatic because I'm sure the Radiants were like, yeah, no, it's okay, but
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm. This last one's big.
Yeah, now we have a huge set from drawer 30, the spicy
30-20.
30-20.
Yes, there's a difference. There's
I don't know what Navani's scheme is of figuring out these drawers. I don't no one knows.
Throw some letters in there.
Yeah, let's put some hex codes. That'll make it clear. Ian, why don't you just read these for us?
So this is from drawer 30-20 and is a sequence of 6 emeralds, which is
so all Truth
Watchers.
Watchers. Yeah.
Yes. Something must be done about the remnants of Odium's forces. The Parsh, as they are now called, continue their war with zeal, even without their masters from damnation. A coalition has been formed among Scholar Radiants. Our goal is to deny the enemy their supply of void light. This will prevent their continuing transformations and give us an edge in combat. Our revelation is fueled by the theory that the Unmade can perhaps be captured like ordinary Spren. It would require a special prison and Malishi. Ba Edo Mishram has somehow connected with the Parsh people, as Odium once did. She provides void light and facilitates forms of power. Our strike team is going to imprison her. We are uncertain the effect this will have on the Parsh. At the very least, it should deny them forms of power. Malishi is confident, but Naze daughter Kuzoto warns of unintended side effects. Surely this will bring, at long last, the end to war that the heralds promised us.
Oh, this is so cool, but also chilling because we know what happened. Unintended side effects.
Yeah. Their connection and identity ripped out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid Ba'ada Mishram, because she was connected to all of them, and so that's what was the problem.
Except for the last Legion.
Who abandoned her.
Yeah,
which
right,
is so cool.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're the independent ones.
Mm-hmm.
What we're saying here is that this strike team to imprison Ba'ada Mishram made the Parsh unintentionally totally slaves.
Mm-hmm. And this would have been the False Desolation when Odium was gone. There were no feuds. There was nothing. There was none of the grander things for the most part. But Ba'ada Mishram was still around, still allowing just the regular forms of power and the Parshmen to keep struggling. They hadn't lost their minds. So that's interesting.
Yeah, right. So they were still powerful, and the Radiants not the best at this point in time. But yeah, I mean, supply of void light. That's interesting because usually the forms of power like the Regals, they don't seem to need the void light. Like it just kind of seems to be an inherent thing of the forms of power, and like the fused use the void light. But I guess you can use void light to do cool things even with the Regals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like I kind of think that maybe the Radiants are a little bit wrong here and probably don't fully understand because, at this point I assume the Parsh people are pretty much subservient to, Ba'ada Mishram and this whole thing. But
clearly,
like, for instance, Eshonai takes her first form of power in a regular high storm. There's probably no void light floating around in that. You know what I mean? Like,
probably
I think they may be misunderstanding a little bit. They probably don't understand.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think Eshonai took the forms of power because they think that their usual forms they get in the high storm, which is true. But like this could have been different back then with these forms of power, right? Like you wouldn't need a high storm to do this necessarily. I don't know.
They would have needed any storm, I guess, because they were using void light. But it's possible that void light was the trigger without a storm, and you needed void light if you don't have a storm, which would make sense. But
I don't know.
I don't know. At least, at
Like,
the very
I
least,
think like the storm is like a foundational part of the Parsh, the singers.
Mhm.
Like that's part of their biology.
Mhm,
I don't know
agree.
if it can just happen. Because like there's something weird in the high storm. There's a narrowing of the realms.
Hmm. I somewhat agree, but I remember like Esh and I like talking about their old songs and whatnot and saying that they were denied their ability to choose their forms. And I feel like if they'd been using the high storm all the time, there would have been a little more leeway. But if Ba'ado Mishram is personally overseeing, she's personally like putting the Spren in or pulling them out as she sees fit, which is what we seem to get back when they couldn't control what their form is, when they didn't have that will that they've so valued in the present day, that maybe they didn't even know they could use a high storm at that point because they were just so wrapped up in what the Unmade and Odium wanted from them.
Maybe.
Hmm.
We'll have to see. But like this also mentions that like it's a theory that the Unmade can be captured like an ordinary Spren.
Mhm.
But like they still think the perfect gems are important. So like what else? Like other
Are they
than like
for?
holding Stormlight for like ever, what is so special about them?
Mm-hmm. That is really interesting. And the other thing that's cool too is we know that that Rishafir was captured, the Midnight Mother was captured, and so it had to have been around the same time, or perhaps even the same event. Maybe there are multiple Unmade there, because she was captured and they would know it was possible if they'd already captured her,
Oh yeah, like maybe Rishafir was a dry run.
Mm-hmm. That's entirely possible too. Yeah, that's
Which
a great
means
Oh,
they
like
started
the test for
evacuating
the
before Rishafir showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just an
and it's
interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Or it could have even been after the fact. Like they're like, oh, we got Ba'ado Mishram, let's go get a few of the rest of them, and the other ones hid.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Radiants didn't like ban it. Well, it's all such a close time period. The False Desolation, the abandoning of Urithiru, and the Recreance all feel like they happened in a very rapid succession to me upon reading these epigraphs.
It does feel very quick. But I mean, makes sense. I mean, Words of Radiance, that also seems like a lot's happening around the Recreance time.
Mhm.
Like a lot feels like it's happening, even if it's like a few centuries later. And like maybe later, like it got harder to determine what of these happened. Like, is the False Desolation real? I mean, Vorinism's all being like, there's no desolations, don't worry about it. So maybe like hit it during the Hierocracy. So it was probably hard to, discern what did occur, and I guess it did happen in short succession.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I can read it either, because like there's the False Desolation, you imprison Ba'ado Mishram, and then the Recreance probably happens pretty soon after that. Well, the enemy's still fighting to Feverstone Keep, even right until the end of the Recreance, but Ba'ado Mishram had to be imprisoned before then, clearly.
Yeah, although Feverstone Keep wasn't on the front, so it's possible that they'd already had their stuff ripped out of them, and the Radiants, like, this has happened, and the Radiants have returned, and the message hasn't gotten back.
Oh, wait, what if, like, the reason that, like, the Recreants is because they realized, like, they captured Ba'ado Mishram and, like, lobotomized all of the Parsh. Maybe the Recreants was, like, in response to that, like, oh man, we screwed up. Like, Honor was right. We are ruining things.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
that's
because it's like we destroyed all these people, and you know what? Probably before Ba'ado Mishram, I don't know. Did they? Maybe they could have had friends with the singers. Maybe not. It does seem like they're like the enemy.
Yeah.
There's a mention in, I think, one of, like, throwing it back to T-Walk, like one of, or the Way of Kings. I just said it out loud. But
T-Walk, wow, nice.
I say it like I type it, man. They mentioned that they were always there. They were always in the wild, waiting for an abandoned child. So I feel like they got like pushed to the fringes of society between the desolations. They were in hiding, and then a desolation would occur, and they would return. Like they would come out of wherever they.
Oh, sure, yeah, right. Those really old stories. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because like at that point, like human populations are relatively small because they keep getting 9/10.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
so like
right,
they could
yeah.
like hide in the wilderness.
Yeah, there's not that many cities. Like it's all centered around the Oath Gates, probably, right?
Probably.
And there's not too much civilization out there. Oh, but yeah, I don't. You were saying, David, that Feverstone Keep wasn't at the front, and that you seem to suggest that they didn't have their souls ripped out quickly, but I don't know. I think as soon as you imprison Ba-Ademishram, that imprisonment, it affects it like it was very immediate.
Oh, no, I'm agreeing, because what I'm saying is I feel like these Radiants could have been fighting at the front, seen the immediate transformation of the Parsh people. That information is not quickly relayed back to Feverstone Keep, so they're like, why are they abandoning the front? As these Radiants are returning, and the Radiants are like, we're done. They're dropping their shards. And so the people in the keep didn't realize that they had ended the conflict once and for all. But it had, yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And like what, like people like think that like the Radiants betrayed them. Like maybe like the fact that like the Radiants are freaking out because like they just lobotomized all these people, but like that's like not. But like that story gets like mutated through the ages. So like the Radiants failed the Parshmen, but like later generations think like, oh no, like the Radiants failed us. Like why would they fail the Parshmen? Like the Parshmens are just slaves.
I mean,
or just like
not,
the gradual drift over. There was a fight and the Radiants quit while there was a fight, and that's all they remember is there was a fight and the Radiants quit. You know, so I think that's very easy for that to drift pretty quickly.
I just wanna mention, I want to read the Words of Radiance epigraphs about the Recreance in particular, just for a moment, because that super matches this. So it says, now, as the Windrunners were thus engaged, arose the event which has hitherto been referenced, namely, that discovery of some wicked thing of eminence, though whether it be some rogueries among the Radiance adherents or of some external origin, Avena would not suggest. That they responded immediately and with great consternation is undeniable, as these were primary among those who would forswear and abandon their oaths. The term recreance was not then applied, but has since become a popular title by which this event is named. So that totally fits. It's so there's like a combination of so many things that they're like, Honor's crazy, warning them that Surge Binding is going to destroy everyone. They abandoned Urithiru, so that like sucks anyway, right? Because other stuff's happening. They knew that they were the invaders, and Honor couldn't like
make them feel better about that.
Right, because Honor's like, no, you're actually going to destroy things. Yeah, sup.
And then they did.
And then with the False Desolation, they're like, well, I mean, we gotta end the war. It does seem like a good plan, but we just ripped all their connection out and destroyed them, basically.
And proved Honor right. Yeah.
Like,
proved him
right. They are suffering a fate worse than death.
I think the Windrunners would not be cool with that.
No.
Especially.
Like, no, because if anything, the Windrunners could be like, no, we gotta stop Ba-Ademishram because she's like providing this and we need to like protect those. Maybe they don't think about it in terms of that because they're like so personifying the enemy, right? But yeah, so it's that event there, really, with that. And it's like, no, we're gonna destroy Roshar. We destroyed all this. I like that.
Okay. Do we want to wrap up this discussion? Because like we did plan for another episode.
There's one more. There's one more. It's really important.
Wait, let me say what I'm going to say. Like, we planned for another episode talking about the Recreance.
Yeah, no, this is enough for now. All the stuff's connected.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this last one then.
Let's do this last one.
Don't tell anyone. I can't say it. I must whisper. I foresaw this. From drawer 30-20, a particularly small emerald.
Was Renarin not the first person to bond a corrupted Truthwatcher's friend? Which is a misspren.
I think so.
It's totally a misspren.
I mean, as we know, seeing of the future is not good for some reason. I don't know.
Well, they don't say. Do they say it's not good? They just say it's.
Hoyd thinks it's. Hoyd thinks it's really bad. Hoyd's like, do not trust anyone who sees.
Oh, I remember that. That was good. Yeah.
Hoyd and honestly, if Hoyd thinks that, he probably has a very good reason for that, right? Like, so I'm gonna go with what Hoyd says and say that it's very bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that seems sensible.
Yeah.
It is. I'm curious what the Truth Watcher, because the Truth Watchers see, as Renarin said, and ordinarily they probably don't see the future. So it makes me wonder what they do see. What their typical thing is. But
well,
yeah.
I
The
like
Truth
the
Watcher's
idea that-
Renarin saying, "I see." He doesn't know what he does.
But I feel like they do see, because there's mentions in Words of Radiance in the epigraphs of the Truth Watchers keeping knowledge to themselves because of an abundance of tact.
Yeah, right.
Like,
right.
I wonder if they see
we
the
talked
present.
about the resonance 40 times.
We've had the conversations before on these podcasts that like their
Yes.
resonance was to discern truth from lies.
Right.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
But
And
like a enlightened misspren can grant the ability to foresee the future in like a really cool way.
Mm-hmm.
but also there's the fact that people have known for like forever that foreseeing the future is bad. Like it's a Vodium, and that's probably bad, and I think there's other reasons too, but like this Truth Watcher is like, I can't tell anyone this, and I'm just recording it here. I'm not going to do anything else.
I find it like
because it's
very
terrifying.
interesting that like the singers, like they have a form that sees the future.
Yeah, that's not a big
Midnight
problem.
Form. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like one side had future sight, the other side didn't.
We've heard that so much. That's gotta be important. More than Renarin, I think. Right? And like, this is in the same drawer, 30-20, that all that strike team stuff is in. Same drawer.
Yeah.
Like, did they foresee the entire event?
I think so.
We're saying it's all connected, right?
Yeah. Like, I wonder if, like, that Truth Watcher slipped it into that drawer so, like, nobody would notice it. Like, oh, there's a whole bunch of emeralds. Who's going to notice one more?
Sure. Also, could have just been slipped in right, like, just as they're abandoning Urithiru. Like, yep, just putting that there. We're leaving. Bye.
Yeah. It's also interesting that a Truth Watcher is the one that found all of them.
Yeah, that does seem suspicious. Can any Radiant go listen to the gemstones? I forgot.
You just have to infuse them with Stormlight, and they like buzz with a code. Like,
and then it just takes a while to decode it, kind of.
Yeah, like whatever Stormlight Morse code is basically what's happening. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a Truth Watcher and Renarin, and that's foreshadowing, and maybe Sjanat has like an affinity towards those set of spread.
Yeah, I'm also curious. Like, I guess we'll see, because Sjanat's claiming she's on the good guy's side, and I tend to take her at her word currently. I guess we'll see, but I'm curious if things would Radiance with corrupted Spren in the past might not have been a whole lot darker than Renarin, whether it's some sort of effect from the Spren or whether they would have just tended to bond with people who weren't terribly nice. I think we'll see something darker out of that. But
because like I'm not entirely convinced like that. Like, I wonder if like Gliss is the one that was bonded to that Truth Watcher. Because like I don't think like it's a very common thing. Because like Siana mentions that like they haven't been able to corrupt one of the Oathgate Spren yet. Like, that's a recent development.
I feel like that's a much bigger deal though than one Radiant Spren. Like, those Spren just seem much larger in scale.
Oathgate Spren in particular?
That was what was referenced, yes.
Yes, specifically referenced one. We haven't been able to enlighten one that powerful before.
Oh, okay, so they totally could have corrupted Radiant Spren before.
Yeah, there's a mention in one of the epigraphs that I think we'll probably touch on at a different time when we go over it, about the Radiants claiming that Sayana could only corrupt lesser Spren.
Yeah.
But also they were particularly...
that's why I'm getting confused.
But they were also... But it also said they were particularly terrified of her. So some part of me feels like that was bluster, and they were saying, "Oh, there's no way that's possible," but they were actually all pretty afraid and trying to keep on the DL that their ranks could be infiltrated,
or that like they were terrified of Siana learning how to do it. Like that has to be like a nightmare. Like this unmade can corrupt Spren. Like Spren are very important to us. Like we don't want that to happen.
Yeah. Okay, all right, that's right. See, with Oathbringer, guys, there's so much happening. It's like, wait, what was said where? And it's like, I have this impression. Why am I having this impression? So it is a bit hard to get a hold of it. But hopefully now, reading these Part 3 epigraphs, you can now kind of see how these are connected to a lot of things. Because, wow, we talked a lot about this. And I thought this would go faster than it did. But, we're on Shardcast. Nothing goes as fast as you expect. No. Do you have any last words, guys? I mean, other than things that we needed to make a podcast on, which clearly we need to talk about, like corrupting Spren. That's on the list too.
Yes,
well,
definitely.
Probably. Like we probably need to have that.
I love Siana.
This is just this list is just getting long. This is good. That's good because we're not going to get another Stormlight book for a long time. Oh, yeah. So it's good we have a lot of content
for
this.
A novella, like between books 3 and 4, but not much more than that.
Oh, in the time jump?
No.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
But
set in the time jump.
See?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
If you guys don't know, Brandon was talking about how maybe there would be a time jump between book 3 and 4.
Probably about a year.
If there was a novella, I think we'd be pretty cool with it. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm excited to hopefully see more of these in the next book, like as the characters start discussing them instead of us just seeing them in the epigraphs.
Yeah.
This could be like a thing that we get a lot of because they're just beginning to decode it. I think we could get a lot of them.
I'd actually like to see more death rattles too.
True.
I do kind of miss the death rattles. I never thought I'd say that because they were so weird the first time you read Way of Kings. It's like, what are these? This is so weird. But I do miss the death rattles. I want to see more of them. We should be.
Maybe when they go to the Horn Eater Peaks, because Rock's wife mentioned, she's like, there's something terribly wrong with our homeland, and Moloch is
the
there.
Fused are actually there guarding the perpendicular.
Yeah, but so is Moloch, the Spren that does it. It is moved to the region of the Horn Eater Peaks.
That's right.
So whenever they return there, I'm sure every person who dies will be babbling something that we can spin crazy theories off for hours. But
I kind of like that as a book 4 plot, though, going to Horn Eater Peaks.
Because
got to put Roxine in here to get the family because we got to go back to the Horn Eater Peaks.
Because that's on the border of Alethkar. It's a good staging ground to get retake.
Yeah, you'd probably want those mountains, right?
Yeah, especially if the Oath Gates are not permitting transit to Shadesmar. Like you want to control that. You want to control the only way in.
That's true. That's true.
And also depending on Dalinar's ability to just manifest a perpendicularity wherever he is, because I guess we'll see. How often
imagine
that happens.
But that strains him.
Yeah.
So having a stable perpendicularity, that's hugely...
That seems like
Horn Eater
colossal
Peaks are,
tactical
super
importance.
important.
Yeah, because that's how all the Fused got into Shadesmar, right? Through the perpendicularity.
No, they can use the Kolinar Oathgate.
Yeah, they can do that too. I assume some of them went through that, but yeah, they can also use the Kolinar Oathgate.
Because Odium has power over those Oathgate Spren, so the fact that Honor told them not to transfer between the realms.
Okay, I'm just being dumb. All right, great, cool. No, you're totally right. You're totally right. Yeah, but still, you'd still probably want the stable perpendicularity. That seems extremely tactical importance.
And I guess that we're probably getting off topic here now, but if Odium really is on Rashar, we can cut this if we need to. But then. Because, in the past, Brandon said he's on Braze, which seems odd.
That's true.
Specifically, it mentions, sealed on Rashar, I recall. And he feels very present on Rashar. So if Odium really is on Rashar, maybe that was transcribed incorrectly, or we misheard, or Brandon was not being very specific, then where is Odium's perpendicularity?
Books trump words of Brandon.
Yeah, he might have changed his mind at some point.
I do think he's on Braze, because there's the scene where, he talks to Venli. And she goes up, and it's the star in the distance of the terrible yellow light.
Ooh, that's also a good point. That maybe she's looking at Braze. Huh.
I didn't think about that way. I kind of just thought that as being a weird. I just assume weird spiritual realm crap. I don't know. I don't know what to think about any of that. It's spiritual realm. All right, I'll just. Okay, Brandon, I'll just let it happen.
But since the Everstorm is a part of Odium, he can manifest enough of
it's the Everstone
focus.
Yeah,
possible
right.
too.
Yeah. Still, what? All right.
Yeah. Anyway, wherever Odium's perpendicularity is, it's probably cool.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's Braze, maybe it's Roshar. I feel like God, I wouldn't want to go through Odium's perpendicularity. That sounds dangerous.
That's probably how the heralds had to get back to Braze. They had to go through Odium's perpendicularity.
That would
you
suck.
think?
If it's on Braze and there's a cool perpendicularity to a planet, that's I don't know how it would look in Shadesmar.
I got an impression that as soon as they gave in, they just were transported back.
They have to go back themselves if
after
they live.
the Desolation when they were returning to Braze, not when they were.
Oh, they have to like go through. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they have to go through one perpendicularity and be like, okay, we're back, guys. We're back here at this perpendicularity
for more torture time.
Though,
yeah,
if they have like one of the either Kalak or Batar, like they could get them anywhere.
True,
but like if those two died, the others have to go through the perpendicularity.
Okay, well, that was a fun tangent. Great. Well, this was fun. We'll see you next time for more fun and exciting. We're gonna have more epigraphs. The next part are they crazier than this? I don't know if they're crazier than this. These are really good.
They're different.
They're different. They're cool for different reasons. So we're gonna talk about them and the Unmade next time. So please feel free to comment below wherever you're listening to this, whether it's YouTube, SoundCloud, or just on our 17 Chart Dudes page. If you're on YouTube, sub and like the video because I got a shill for our new YouTube channel.
We've become
everyone
those
likes
people.
being shilled too. I know. Look, it's
comment,
better
like,
for
and
search
subscribe.
ranking. It's better for search ranking. That's the only reason why I'm saying it. And my desires are very blatant, okay?
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I think that's fine.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I just find
I know.
amusing.
It is really annoying. But and you can follow us on 17 Chart on Facebook, Twitter, and come to the site because we got tons of Oathbringer discussion, and same on Discord. There's tons of discussion happening. It's a really awesome time to be in the fandom. So.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
Bye.